Here's another one, 15th century Italian painting showing the baby Jesus and baby John with, of course, the Virgin Mary. And how about this guy here, enlargement? He's clearly looking up at something, a circular craft radiating beams of light. And a number of religious paintings include such depictions.
Popular British UFO author Timothy Good has a new book titled Earth, an Alien Enterprise, the shocking truth behind the greatest cover-up in human history, coming out on November 13th. It's about alleged extraterrestrial contacts dating back to 1932 from all over the world. Good's subject matter is highly controversial, even among people who follow the UFO topic. However, in the past, Good's books have shed light on some of the most credible and interesting UFO cases. He has also garnered the respect and attention of high-level officials in the UK. At a recent UFO conference in North Carolina, we were able to talk to Good about his new book.
I've really gone out on a limb in this book. I've gone further than ever before, and it took me 2.5 years to write, and there is some genuinely sensational material.
Although well known for lecturing and writing about UFOs and extraterrestrials, Good makes a living as a very accomplished violinist. He attended the Royal Academy of Music, where he won several prizes and went on to play for the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra and the London Symphony Orchestra. Since the 90s, he has also worked as a freelance violinist for television, commercials, feature films, and even recordings with famous musicians such as Paul McCartney, Elton John, and U2. Good's interest in UFOs began in the 50s when he read books by Major Donald Keyhoe. However, he says it wasn't until 1961 when he read the Report on Unidentified Flying Objects, a book by Captain Edward Ruppelt, who ran the Air Force's Project Blue Book in the early 50s, that he began to do his own independent research. That research culminated into his 1987 book, Above Top Secret, the worldwide UFO cover-up. His book took the UK by storm and quickly climbed to the #2 spot on the UK bestseller list for nonfiction. It was the first book to popularize many declassified government documents on UFOs, demonstrating that the topic did raise concerns for national security. The book's title came from a 1975 letter by the late Senator Barry Goldwater stating that he was denied access to UFO information stored at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which is still classified above top secret. The book also had a foreword by Peter Hill Norton, a member of the House of Lords, Admiral of the Fleet, and Britain's former Chief of Defense. He became a strong advocate for UFO research and wrote the introduction to 3 other books by Tim Good. I asked Good if he felt this extraterrestrial presence was well known throughout the government.
I think relatively few people in government have the faintest idea what's going on. Maybe in your country, it's largely kept, the information is largely restricted to the military and intelligence organizations. Obviously, some people in government are very much aware of going on, but they're very, very few and far between. Even our prime ministers don't necessarily get, everything's on a need-to-know basis, as I'm sure you're aware.
Following the success of Above Top Secret, Tim Good published a number of books, including a 1996 updated version entitled Beyond Top Secret, which was published in the US as Alien Contact. His other books are Alien Base, The Evidence for Extraterrestrial Colonization of Earth, published in 1998, Unearthly Disclosure, published in 2000, and Need to Know, UFOs, the Military, and Intelligence, published in 2007. He also edited a number of books, including the best-selling Alien Update in 1993. British media has had mixed responses to Good's work, referring to him as either a hero or a kook. Over the years, his focus has moved from government documents to more controversial topics, such as alien contact. However, I wanted to get his opinion on the recent release of UFO files by the British government and if he felt that that was helpful to his research.
The Ministry of Defense effort over the last I don't know, five decades, something like that, to take information from members of the public is really of little importance. The real information is not done at that level. Nick Pope had a good shot at it when he headed the UFO desk in the MOD from 1991 to 1994.
I mentioned to Good that Pope had also expressed that UFO monitoring probably goes on at some level of the government.
Well, he has had some access because, for example, he tells that during his period at in charge of the MOD UFO desk, 1991 to 1994, there was a huge colour photograph taken by, I believe, a Harrier jet of a very unusual craft in northern Scotland. And Nick discussed this with his colleagues, and it was apparently a real photograph, but at some point thereafter, he'd had the discussions with his colleagues. The picture mysteriously vanished and it wasn't seen again in the Ministry of Defense.
In his foreword to Alien Contact, Top Secret UFO Files Revealed, Lord Hill Norton wrote, "I have known Tim Good for over 10 years, during which I have formed the opinion that he is both honest and reliable. I am quite sure that he is not a nutcase, and equally sure that his long and diligent investigations have been efficiently conducted and the results carefully and accurately reported." We received an early copy of Good's new book, Earth, an Alien Enterprise, and it certainly does not shy away from some of the more sensational cases of alleged alien contact. Good mentioned MI6, which is Britain's secret intelligence service. One of the more shocking claims in his new book is that he was told by an MI6 agent she had overheard astronaut Neil Armstrong discussing seeing alien spacecraft on the moon. She says he told a scientist that they were warned off, and when the scientist asked for more details, Armstrong replied, "I can't go into details except to say that their ships were far superior to ours, both in size and technology. Boy, they were big and menacing. No, there's no question of a space station." This was at a conference, and the MI6 agent claimed she was in an adjacent room. She says she later got a chance to speak with Armstrong and confirm that he was referring to extraterrestrials. She says he also claimed that the CIA was behind the cover-up. So there are a lot of fascinating stories in Good's new book. Most are quite fantastic, but that is what Good has become known for. You can pre-order his book right now on Amazon. Good will also be speaking at the 2014 International UFO Congress, which runs February 12th to the 16th, and you can go purchase tickets online at ufocongress.com. There are also links to the site from openminds.tv. Attendees will have the opportunity to talk with Good in person and get signed copies of his new book. For Open Minds, I'm Alejandro Rojas.